Has anyone ever noticed that life never really seems all that fun anymore? Like, when I think back to my childhood, I think about all of these fun little moments that I had, which really just revolved around mundane day-to-day activities, but seemed like so much more fun than they are today. And for sure, there's a certain aspect to which it makes sense because everything is more interesting when you're young. It's much easier to amuse a young kid than it is to amuse an adult, and nostalgia is one hell of a drug. But beyond the fact that life is obviously more fun without the stress and responsibilities that come with adulthood, I think there's something more going on here.
Stupid babies need the most attention.
I was a child of the 90s, and I have these very distinctive memories of every once in a while on a Friday night being allowed to go rent a movie. And so me and a couple of my friends from the neighborhood would get driven over to the video rental store, and we'd run up and down the aisles like maniacs trying to decide which movie we wanted to rent, usually basing our decision just off of the picture on the cover of the VHS tape. Yes, I am that old. And then we would bicker over which snacks and drinks to pick, and the entire thing was just a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, of the entire experience, watching the actual movie was the least exciting part. Just getting out and being silly and going to the movie rental store was a blast. Similarly, I remember getting a little bit older and getting really into music. And every time that an artist or a band released a new album, pandemonium would ensue. It was always a big event. I remember when NSYNC released Celebrity, the last CD, and it was a huge thing, and all of the record stores in the malls had these promotions going on where like the first 100 people to buy the new CD would get some limited edition merch, and it was a big deal. People would line up outside the store all day long hoping to be one of the first 100. It was an event, and it was cool because you could actually meet people too. You would make friends in line because you were surrounded by people just like you who were your age and had the same interests as you. When I was in high school, I would count down the days until my favorite band put out their new record, and then I would cut class and get on the bus with a couple of friends, go down to the mall, get the new CD, and then we'd go home and we'd all listen to it and read through the booklet, and the next day in school we would compare notes and talk about our new favorite songs. It was just a really fun thing to do, and it was something that I looked forward to very much. The truth is that in the majority of these situations, the movie or the CD or whatever it was barely the point. It was about the experience, it was about the excitement, the ritual, the novelty, and I think that that's exactly what's missing from life today, is novelty. Movie rentals are no more thanks to streaming services, and for sure, it's more convenient, it's easier, and it's probably cheaper too to stream a movie on Netflix than it ever was to go to Blockbuster. But it's just not nearly as fun. It's no longer an event. Now it's just something you do haphazardly every night while you're shoving food down your face in front of the TV. I remember the excitement and anticipation when you'd get really into a show and you would wait every week for a new episode to drop. It was something to talk about, it was something to look forward to, but now you can just marathon an entire series in 1 or 2 days and then that's it. It's done, it's over, and you're on to the next thing. Personally, as somebody who is a very passionate music fan, I think that music has been ruined by streaming. Not only are CDs and records largely obsolete, but our cravings for more and more and more content all the time has created an environment where artists are forced to release single after single after single every week or two leading up to a new release, to the point that when the new CD actually does come out, we've already heard half of it and it's just not that exciting anymore. It's not even new by that point. Our attention spans have shrunk to a point that now it's just about the next single or song, and it's not about an entire album. Nobody looks at an album anymore as a complete piece of artwork to be consumed from front to back. Again, I get that Spotify is both a more convenient and cheaper way to listen to music, but it's just not as good. Even for those who are still into collecting tangible media, the days of wandering aimlessly through a record store, flipping through bins, looking for something new and exciting to discover, those days are over. The #1 retailer of vinyl records today is, you guessed it, Amazon. And so rather than having the opportunity to have an immersive experience that you're going to remember and that you're going to value, you just click buy it now, it shows up on your doorstep, you throw it on the shelf, and by the next day, you've forgotten about it. The fact is that our obsession with convenience and instant gratification has taken over our lives in almost every way. The very thing that makes something feel exciting and special is novelty, and we just don't get a lot of that nowadays. Novelty gives us a huge dopamine hit, but when you have unlimited access to everything all the time, there is no novelty, and so we have to seek greater and greater extremes to get that dopamine. And as we do, everyday life becomes less and less enjoyable, less fun, like a drug addict with an ever-increasing tolerance, and a small hit just doesn't do it anymore.
Peanut butter and crap.
I remember a time when going out to eat at a restaurant was a special occasion. It was something you only did maybe once a month, or maybe even just a few times a year to celebrate a birthday or a special event. You'd get all dressed up, you'd go meet up with your friends and family, you'd go to a new environment, you'd get to eat a special food that you didn't get every day, and it was exciting. But now you get that same food delivered to you 7 days a week just with a few taps of an app. No need to get dressed, no need to leave the house, no need to see anybody, and now that special meal is just another TV dinner. Even silly things like grocery shopping used to seem more fun. It was like an opportunity to search up and down the aisles to find something new and interesting to try. I remember being a kid and getting to invite a friend along to run errands with us at Walmart. Okay, we're talking frickin' Walmart here, nothing magnificent by any stretch. But it was fun. We would run up and down the aisles, we'd go to the toy section, we'd probably leave with nothing but an hour of giggles, and it was a blast. But that doesn't really happen very much anymore. Now you just order everything on Amazon. So where does this all leave us? Well, it leaves us craving that dopamine, craving that novelty, and going to unsustainable extremes to try to find it. Now we get our hits from going on lavish vacations or buying expensive new gadgets or attending made-for-Instagram festivals and concerts. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with any of those things, but you can't do that kind of thing every day.
Who paid for your Coachella ticket?
My daddy!
And so when we remove those little moments of fun from everyday life, we're left with a population who's really bored and really depressed. A population that's constantly seeking higher highs to try to compensate for how mundane everyday life feels. It's become harder and harder to impress us because the convenience of overwhelming abundance has normalized everything that should be special. It's left us in a constant state of consumption but with no satiation, like endlessly snacking on empty calories and wondering why you never feel full. In a lot of ways, I feel like this has been a massive contributor to our upgrade economy, where everybody's constantly upgrading their phone, their watch, their TV, their computer, their car, their clothes, all the time, just trying to feel something, just trying to feel a little burst of excitement. And corporations love it because it's making them filthy rich. The problem is that there is no end to this. There's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. There isn't even an end to the rainbow. The more we consume, the less important and exciting everything feels. The more normalized something is, the less we care. Convenience has killed novelty, but novelty is essential to a happy life. We've traded quality for quantity in almost every way, and now we're bored all the time. Convenience and overwhelming abundance has literally sucked the fun out of everything, because more really isn't always better. And it's quite interesting, because if I tell somebody that I don't have Netflix, or that I don't have Spotify, or that I've never used a meal delivery app in my life, they look at me like I'm a dinosaur.
I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me.
They look at me like I'm a boomer with one foot in the grave, and they go, well, what do you do for fun? Like, how do you spend your free time? And the answer is that I do the exact same things as everybody else. I listen to music, I watch movies, I read books, I go out to eat with my friends, but when I do, it's an occasion. It's an activity, it's an event. It's my main focus rather than just background noise. I do less of it, but it feels like so much more, because I do it with intention, or at least I try to. And none of this is to say that you shouldn't use streaming services or that there isn't a time and place for grocery delivery. It's just about being cognizant of the fact that as corny as it sounds, in a lot of cases, less really is more. Intentionality matters. Convenience doesn't, or at least shouldn't, trump all else. Try to seek novelty and excitement in small day-to-day activities. Every once in a while, take the scenic route. Life shouldn't be all shortcuts all the time, because at the end of the day, it's not the destination, it's the trip, man. As always, these are just my thoughts and opinions, and I would love to know yours in the comment section down below. Tell me if you're somebody who values convenience above all else, or if you're somebody who appreciates things being slower and more intentional. If you enjoyed this video at all, please go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. I'm actually getting very, very close to the 20,000 subscriber mark, which is crazy to me, but I'm so appreciative, so please go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. You can follow me on Instagram. I've also recently started a Patreon page. I get a lot of comments from you guys asking me to post videos about my grocery hauls and my shopping trips and my meal planning and my recipes. And those are all things that I'm sharing over on the Patreon page, as well as other cool little life updates. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you can check it out at the link in the description box down below. Other than that, thank you guys so much as always for watching. Take care, have a good one, and I will see you next weekend.